everybody. This is Lauren, and welcome to the podcast. I'm here with Tyler. How are you today, Tyler?
Doing outstanding. Thanks for asking.
Good. I'm so excited for this. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself or how you would introduce yourself to people?
Oh, man. Very shortly, usually. West Texas kid, grew up out in the oil field, and somehow found my way to the Virgin Islands where I am today, and married to a beautiful wife who has supported me through all of this. And there's really not much to say besides I've done a little bit of this and that. I was in the Marine Corps for a little bit and really just spent most of my adult years working as a landman in the oil field.
Cool. What do you like to do outside of work?
Right now, it's been just like getting back to my old self. So I can't even really answer that. I'm about 6 months into sobriety and I'm learning myself again, but I enjoy playing the guitar. I enjoy going to the beach, fishing. We operate a little charter company out here, and that's been pretty much all the time. But I will say that the last few months has just been sitting around. It took a little bit to get my legs back underneath me.
Yeah.
But
It does sound like you guys have a lot of cool things going on. And I don't know about you, but I lost my experience with music for a while. It just didn't even do anything for me. So I'm glad that you can play the guitar again.
funny, after listening to a lot of the podcasts you guys have produced, it's a common theme. People just separate from the things they love and enjoy, and music being a big one that I've heard over the last few days doing my research and listening to a lot of y'all's work.
Very interesting. I don't know because when I first started it, it was all about having a good time. But anyway, okay, so you said 6 months. What is your Kratom quit date?
It was Labor Day, so technically, 7 months or so. I went and did an Ibogaine treatment in Mexico leading up to Labor Day. So I consider myself, the last day I took Kratom was maybe like, say, August 27th of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what that was like, the Ibogaine treatment?
Yeah, it was a hell of a ride. The simplest way to put it, it was 49% of it sucked and 51% of it was life changing. And I would do that terrible 49% 100 times again if it meant that I get to feel the way I feel right now. It
Okay,
was
wow.
it
Okay,
was a
great.
beautiful show. It was a beautiful show in hindsight. During it, it was very rough. It was about, I'd say, about 30 hours of, I call him Grandpappy Ibogaine whooping my ass.
So that's what you decided just to settle on to help you quit?
Yeah, yeah. And I actually went back again last month, not because of any issues with sobriety. I haven't had a thought about Kratom or any other drug. I drank a few beers here and there, wanting to be like a person that could just have a beer, but that's not me. And it's funny how Ibogaine and the 5-MeO DMT kind of took its time with me past the treatment for
Mhm.
months and reinforced. And as soon as I gave in and said, okay, I'm not going to smoke weed anymore, I'm not going to drink beers anymore, which I never liked getting drunk. It wasn't like I was just getting drunk since then, but I just wanted to have a casual beer at dinner. But if I drink one, just everybody else that has an addiction issue, give me 1,000. But
Yeah,
it took its
yeah.
time and it proved its point. Point taken. It was a struggle after both times, but both
Yeah.
Ibogaine treatments. The first one,
Wow.
I had withdrawals that were completely bearable, but they lasted over a month. Kratom is a weird one with how it does, and actually learned from y'all's podcast that I had pause, the post-acute withdrawal symptoms in the past when I tried to quit. I didn't
Right.
understand it. I was ignorant to all the things. I Kratom, and I tried so hard. I get 3 months in, and then something would happen. I'd stump my toe.
I know.
The simplest
I
thing will
know,
set it
right?
off.
Yeah. You
So
our minds can use anything, but okay, so tell me about how you first started.
when I was in the Marines 24 years ago, I got a MRSA staph infection in my right elbow in boot camp. And you're supposed to get about a week off, maybe 10 days after boot camp. It's called boot leave. And I spent 3 weeks in almost like an intensive care type of a setup the doctors would come in with like hazmat suits on. It was pretty intimidating. And that was the
Oh,
first time I was given a script for 120 Lortab prescription. And from that point forward, man, things just unwound slowly sometimes and very quickly at other times. And after the Marines, I went to college. And it was always like, after this semester, I'll quit during this break and I'll kick it. There was always an excuse and a reason to quit or to get back on it. And by my buddy, he just let me go sit in his room, a room in his house, and sweat it out. And I got off the pain pills.
wow. Yeah,
Then
that's not an easy feat, and I
I,
know it's rough.
I was proud of myself and I
Mhm.
conquered it. I felt strong and I was motivated. Life was good. All the things were lining up. And then I met this girl. We went out to a bar and she was sitting on the banister for this like second story type overlook to the patio area. And she fell off of it backwards and landed like in a pike position on her back and broke her pelvis and all this stuff. And the long story short is
Oh
that
god.
they gave her pain medicine. Before Trump's first term in office, they were giving out pain pills like it was nothing. Maybe the Sackler
Mhm.
family and all that kind of stuff, all that history with that,
Yeah.
they were pushing pills. But then Trump came in. I'll give him credit for one thing is that he shut that down, but that led to kratom and fentanyl and heroin. So
Right.
it's
Right.
give or take. But so after we ran out of her pills, I say we, because when I got around it again and she was handing them to me and she mentioned
Right.
kratom and I was like, Kratom, Kratom, what is this
Mhm.
stuff? And she had the powder, and just like almost every story that you hear about kratom, started off with the powders. And this is 2015, 16.
Okay.
And then it went to pills and taking 30 or 40 of them a day at some point. And then I just got fed up with it because I knew what it was. I'm not ignorant, but I was playing ignorant. This isn't the same. But then as soon as I try to stop it, the withdrawals and the bad feelings. But I got down here to the Virgin Islands, started off on St. Croix and then ended up on St. Thomas. And my father got sick and passed away. And my wife, my girlfriend at the time, was on a trip to Thailand and she was gone for a few good weeks. And I was like, this is my chance. This is my opportunity. I sweated it out. But it only took 3 days. And I was like back to feeling pretty good because I was just on the powders and the pills.
Okay.
And I was proud
Okay.
of myself again. And then a back injury from right before just a few months before I moved to the Virgin Islands, I hurt my back. I didn't know how bad, but then I aggravated it severely and ended up getting surgery and all this other stuff. So I
Mhm.
started taking the kratom again because it was a safe alternative to opiates. And ignorant
Yep,
again.
that's what we all hear.
Yeah. And so I quickly progressed to the extracts, common theme. And I got just enough money to where I was drinking a lot of the gold label, whatever that stuff is. And it
Yeah.
made me feel terrible. And the
Yeah.
addicted
Yeah.
personality just said, okay. And I was like, I'd ruin nights, I'd ruin events for myself because I was just a sweaty mess. It's always 85 degrees here. And so I'm just
Yeah.
sweating and looking like crap and feeling like crap. And it was affecting my vision and my eyes. It was affecting my stomach. Of course, it turned from fun to a thing I had to manage and plan out. And so, like, I got
Right.
the main point from the universe, the lesson when we try to travel to Europe. As you've heard this before too, because I'm telling you, everybody
Mhm.
has some kind of a common theme. And that's why I really appreciate hearing everybody else, man, like Nick and who was it today? Mark, I believe his name was. But anyway, man, I ruined that trip. And so it dawned on me that something's got to change. But then I get home and then I discover 7-OH, the hydroxy, whatever the crap it's called. And I get to the point over a few years of using it, of eating, I'd wake up and eat it. A couple hours later, eat it. I was probably eating like 7 to 10 pills a day. like the 50
Oh,
milligram
yeah.
ones. And those things are strong. I didn't realize how strong they were really until like hindsight, I guess. But it got to the point to where it was damaging my body. And like I said, I have just enough
Right.
time and money to eat them all day. And I wasn't hiding anything from Stephanie, my wife, but I was just dragging her through the mud.
So when you say it was affecting your body, what did it do?
By the end of it, I was severely constipated. And what's the guy from Friends who died in this hot tub?
Oh,
I
yeah,
see his face,
I
but I
don't
can't.
know.
Not Matt LeBlanc, but the
Matthew
guy
Perry.
that Terry.
Matthew Perry.
I think he blew out his colon or something like that from severe
It's the
constipation.
thing with yeah,
And
opiate addiction, it does. Opiates
yeah,
do that, and it's so dangerous.
yeah, and so it gets to the point where I got a real issue, like not just addicted, but like it's killing me. And
Yeah.
so I called Sean, who does a lot of psychedelic podcasts about. It's called Trip Rapport, TRYP Rapport, and he's
Mhm.
the one who put me on to Ibogaine. I heard about it 10 years
Okay.
ago, but he went out and did it, and I was worried for him. There's cardiac risk and all this, and I'd heard horror stories because people that I knew went and did like an underground, not a smart, safe setup. And my buddy's cousin
Yeah.
was like severely, like he was a catatonic for 5 days afterwards, and they like made him take
Yeah.
it. My friend had to take his cousin to a hotel and like wipe his butt. It was bad. And
Yeah.
so I was scared of
Yeah.
it, and I was scared for Sean, and he came back, and the first thing he said is, "You gotta go." And so, like, a month later,
Mm.
I reach out to him, I was like, "I'll go if you go." I'm like, "If you'll go with me, I'll pay for both of us." And, but then a week later, I'd been buying from the factory, OPIA, a brand.
Mhm.
I was
Yep,
buying
I took
50
those.
I was buying a 50 at a time, 50 packages at a time from them. And I ate all those in
Mhm.
a week, and I called him, I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta go now." And I called
Mm.
Casa Santa Isabel in Rosarita, and they got me in it within a week's time for a 10-day Ibogaine Kratom protocol. And within a few days from then, I was flying off to San Diego, and
Yeah.
yeah, the rest is history.
Now, when you called and told them that you were coming, did you tell them that you were on 7-OH? Did they know what that was?
Yeah, they had technically a protocol for that. They had a protocol for fentanyl, for meth,
Wow.
for everything. So they had their ducks in a row to help me with it. And I promise you, I couldn't have been more happier with the process, even though it's basically say like a rehab, but it's not because they're accommodating. They give you morphine as soon as you get there to taper you off. Because from what I understand, the Ibogaine kind of works better with the morpha compared to the kratom. So they get you. So I did 6 or 7 days before the Ibogaine, and that was taking morphine up until the day before, I believe. I think it has like a quick half life or
Hmm.
something that makes it more effective. But as we know, kratom sticks with you for a
Okay.
long time. It sits in your brain or whatever. And
Actually, what I was gonna ask you, what was it like after you got back for the first month or so?
I I felt terrible, but in a manageable way. What the Ibogaine allowed me was
Mhm.
freedom of my mind. Whereas anytime the 50,000 times I try to quit in the years previous to that, I would always a drug addict is real good at rationalizing and making excuses to
Mhm.
get to what they need. And even though I was punishing myself mentally and depressed because of my behavior and how I knew I was being perceived by friends and family and the way I was treating them, which is shameful, but it's not punishing me now. But that month, I had restless leg. I felt like
Oh, yeah.
my knees were getting driven in by an electric lightning bolt, a screwdriver or something or other. And I stayed out in our spare bedroom for a week and then moved to the couch for a week or two. And I was so exhausted. I would try to go use the restroom and come back and would sleep for 2 more hours. Like, I was just exhausted. And I didn't have
Mhm.
proper integration tools. The one thing lacking at Casa Santa Isabel, but I talked about to him, to the management and everything, the second time I talked to him about, y'all gotta do a better job of preparing the person for success afterwards, because you can't
Mhm.
just do it and then think that's a magic bullet and you're done. It's work. There's work to be done afterwards. And it includes simple stuff like eating right and being active, talking to a coach or a psychologist of some sort, having a support group. I mean, there's just so many layers to it that I didn't understand and I didn't want to. I still had a case of the bits. I don't want to cuss on your show. I was screw it. Oh, but it was
Mhm.
better than it was before because I got real bad with that. I didn't want to do anything. But for that
Right.
month afterwards, it was tough, but it was manageable because of the way that Ibogaine proved to me that I was worthy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
pretty.
that's great, and I know a lot of things, like, when I was in that first month or 2, something that really shocked me was just that lack of feeling. I just didn't have any feeling emotionally. I just couldn't attach to anything. I got sad and stuff, but I just didn't for a good 6 weeks. I don't know if you dealt with anything like that. Was there anything that, like, surprised you about that time when you were coming off of it? Because 'Cause you've come off of other things.
Yeah,
So was
yeah.
it anything different?
In the past, so I guess what I've learned about opiates and kratom is that it takes 18 months for the brain to start healing, not to heal, but to start
Mhm,
healing. The dopamine and serotonin receptors are so depleted, and especially if you've done it for a long time, it's
mhm,
just a muscle that hasn't been used. And so, if sex, which is supposed to be the most exciting, pleasurable thing that a human can naturally experience, is, let's make up a number like on a scale from 1 to 100, it's supposed to be like 100. The opiates and whatnot are like 10,000. And so it takes 18 months just to start getting those levels back to where you're enjoying anything, food or music, just the things that make you who you are and the drive and
mhm,
the will to get up and do something. So Ibogaine shortens that to a night. That's the beauty of Ibogaine, is it clears off those receptors overnight. And I
mhm,
felt that whole month that I was withdrawing, I call it withdrawal light, because it wasn't
mm,
like stomach issues. It wasn't like all the normal stuff I experienced from the opiates, but it was less mental though with the Ibogaine. It was less depressing and all that. I just feel blessed that I got to do that. And
mhm.
it's, but yeah, in the past when I tried to quit, there was nothing in me for anything else. Just
Yeah,
leave me in the bedroom and don't talk to me. That's part of
yeah,
that
yeah,
shame.
definitely.
Yeah. And then, like, you got
Yeah,
your wife that
absolutely.
with me, my wife has never smoked a cigarette, let alone done a
Mm,
drug. And she's, what's going
yeah,
on? And I'm just like, it's gonna go away. Just trust me. I'm gonna figure this
yeah,
out. But yeah, I couldn't figure it
right.
out without Ibogaine.
So what about the consequences besides, like, your physical consequences? Did you have work consequences or relationships or anything like that?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but like, I don't think I have any more friends. I'm trying to rebuild all
Yeah.
that. People are nice to me, but I can see the look. But I probably lost 5, 6, 7 jobs. I'm a contract landman, and I just couldn't do the work. I couldn't sit there, and couldn't concentrate. And then if I didn't have the pill that day, or 10 pills
Yeah.
that day, or if I had the pills, I would take too many, and I couldn't look at the screen.
Mm,
There's just who knows how much money I spent. That
yeah.
ugh,
I still refuse to look at my bank statement from that time period. I just can't live with myself to look at it because it was just so expensive, and expensive emotionally was hard enough to face, but I'm still paying. I'll be paying for a while, paying for that run on
yeah.
708 especially. So I did wanna go back and ask you something. When you went from the powder to the shots and then from the shots to 7-OH, was there any kind of sales or something that people told you about, or was it just you being interested in other things?
I went from the extracts here on the island that I noticed behind the counter, but not definitely it wasn't like pushed on me by say the
Mhm,
sales rep or the clerk or anything. But when I went to
mhm,
Texas for a trip or something, and I went looking for it, and I went to a head shop or just my extracts, and then I went to this head shop, and the guy was like, "You should try this. This is like taking a 10." I mean, Lortab 10. I was
mhm.
like, "Okay." And yeah, I
Yeah.
took one and I'm itching my nose and talking and got the energy. And that, of course, I overdid it and then felt the terrible
Mhm.
stuff you feel afterwards. Can
Yeah.
I be present for simple things like a dinner with my friends, feeling embarrassed that here I am once again. But yeah, it was just a simple, these are like tens. And that's all I needed to hear.
How did he know that you would know what that is? A lot of people wouldn't know what a 10 is. I would because I was addicted to pain pills. It's like, how did he know that you would know? That's interesting to me.
The devil
Well,
works in mysterious ways.
yep, he does. One question, what other tools now that you're home? I know you had talked about counseling or maybe like podcasts. What kind of tools do you use to stay sober? Because that's the hardest thing for a lot of
Well,
people. It was hard for me, especially.
like I said, luckily I got the gift of Ibogaine. I haven't had one thought,
Mhm,
not 1 ounce of a thought, not even it's just to me, it doesn't exist anymore, that part of my life. It just is
mhm.
not there because it's just not who I am anymore. It's not who I will ever be again because of the magic and power of Ibogaine. But so when I came back the second time last month, and I don't know if I made this clear, but the first time I went for addiction, and this time I went for a 5-day wellness retreat because what I did when I got back is I set up a nonprofit. I'm calling it My Tithe Foundation, TY. My name's Tyler, TYTHE in the biblical
Mhm,
sense. If you have, you're supposed to help, you're supposed to give, you're supposed to leave the outer two
mhm.
rows of the crop for the peasants or something in the Bible. But for me, I set up this foundation and it's just about on its feet and ready to run. I'm going to be sending people who can't afford the treatment.
Wow.
It'll
Wow,
be like a
okay.
lottery system that's fueled by a little bit of my money and hopefully a whole lot of donations. You have like vets and Mission Within, Heroic Hearts, and these kind of groups that send like these tier one Navy SEAL and Delta Force type guys that have
Mm,
experienced traumatic brain injury and PTSD and drug addiction. Most of them are end up on drugs because of the nature of the VA. But there's all these there's all these resources for the military, but there's nothing just for the average Joe. And the average Joe cannot afford this. And so
okay.
it's minimum, like maybe 5 or 6 grand, but
Wow,
the wait list, and if you want to get in fast, say to Ambio or beyond, it's 20 grand. That's
wow. Yeah,
ridiculous.
most people don't have that for sure.
Yeah. If someone's listening and they're in a place that they really need some help, in the next few weeks, the website will be up and running and you can reach out and I'll try my damnedest. Obviously, I can't send everybody. And I'm not going to say that one person's needs or story or whatever is more important than the next, but I'm going to do what I can. It's my goal. It's my mission. But
Mhm.
so, with that being said, the second time I went for to have more clout, to have more understanding, to have more, say, sturdy ground underneath me because I knew what it did for the addiction. So I wanted to know what it would do for me. And my God. So the Ibogaine, the first time, like I said, was 30 hours and it was torture. The second time, it was like 4 hours. It was quick and simple. It squared away like one little missing link in my life. And then I went and smoked the 5-MeO DMT. The first round of Ibogaine, I didn't really feel the DMT. It was like, I don't know how or why, but it just didn't work on me. Second time, I took a big hit and a big dose. The average dose is like 20 to 40 milligrams of the bufo, of the toad. And I took a 200 milligram hit. And that affected me for weeks afterwards. I was having reactivations
Mm.
and I was hearing Indians kind of dancing around me and screaming in my sleep. And when I was awake, and I was seeing stuff still here and there.
Wow.
If I gazed off at anything, I'd start seeing fractal, geometric, crazy stuff that I couldn't think of on my own. It was definitely, but that
Mhm.
was actually, like I said, the interesting thing about Ibogaine and 5-MeO is that it sticks with you and teaches you a lesson, not just that day, but as soon as I got out of there, the second time I went and had a beer, like on the way home on the airplane, and then had a beer later on, and then the next day maybe had 2 beers. And it was just making those reactivations come with force. And then I talked to my integration specialist. Her name's Mia Black. She's awesome. She works with a lot of the vets and stuff like that. But she was like, "You got to quit that shit because it's it's the lesson that like you think you can control this." And I was like, "Yeah." And then I gave in and I stopped it all, and then everything cleared up. And like I said, it proved its point. The lesson was learned, and with me, I guess I'm stubborn in it, and it had to do what it needed to do to me to teach me the lesson, and here I am.
Yeah,
Thankfully, I haven't had a thought about a drink or smoking or anything since this second one, or
that's
since that
great.
spell, but
Yeah, yeah. Do you now, if somebody wasn't able to do something like that, some people talk about exercise, some people talk about meetings, that sort of thing. You set up this group to try to help other people. That's a theme when people stop. They want to try to help other people get free from it. So, is that kind of where you're at in your recovery, like just to focus on the Ibogaine and helping other people? Do you do anything else outside of that?
I've just started, like I said, I was just so out of it and worn out after the first time, and then let the lazy set back in, even though I was motivated mentally. Physically, I felt drained because it's just years and years of killing myself and the death by 1,000 cuts. And then now, like in the last 2 weeks, I started working out. I gained a lot of weight after I quit, maybe like 60 pounds. I went into,
Was it because you felt like you weren't eating when you took it?
yeah, I was down to 180 something pounds, and that's skinny for me, beneath my fighting weight.
Right.
But what it was is I was craving sugar. And the only thing that really helped me during that first month of the withdrawal, the light withdrawal, was just so happened before I went down there at Labor Day, I bought a big old box of those like Otter Pop popsicles, those lined little icy pop things. And when I was
Okay.
going, I was so hot. That was another thing. I was just like miserable, hot, and just uncomfortable and
Mhm.
all that. And I opened the freezer and there's these pops. And that started a sugar. I replaced, I would say the
Yeah.
kratom with the sugar, and I was also trying to quit. I was using these Zen tobacco or those nicotine pouches, and so I was
Mhm.
going through a lot of that type of stuff, but I was just eating popsicles. I don't know why. I'm not really a sweet tooth, but also food just tasted so good. Like I said, the dopamine was wiped clean and like food tasted good. And I'm talking about like I'd never eaten bacon and eggs before, but I would eat way
Yeah,
too much
yeah,
because for the first time it was like on the kratom, I would eat 3 bites and just be like, ugh.
yeah,
And,
yep,
and I was
same with
drowning
me.
myself with beer. But as soon as I
Mhm.
got home, it was like, let the eating begin. And I really didn't fight it. I knew what was going on. I
Yeah.
just enjoyed it so much that I was like, you know what? See where this leads. And yeah. And within just like a few months, like one day I looked down and I was like, oh no, I'm fat.
Yeah,
Like, how did that happen? And
I
so,
really enjoyed the food, I really enjoyed it.
yeah, but yeah, so just like staying active now, like once you get your legs beneath you and your head's cleared up a little bit, obviously, if you're not doing the Ibogaine, it's a slower process. But like I said, it's not a shortcut, but it's a slower process or faster
Yeah,
process with the Ibogaine. But for me, getting in the ocean,
yeah,
a big thing is to occupy your space, occupy your mind, and be open with the ones that are near you. The ones that love
yeah.
you can bear it. And if they don't love you,
Yeah,
they'll probably leave you, and that's fine because that's probably a good thing to know anyway. But
yeah.
yeah, and also maybe half the world won't agree with this, but pray to God. the spiritual side of
Yeah.
this. We brought in the dark side by taking this stuff. We brought in a
Mm.
negative dark force that's affecting our light. We're all given a light. We are
Right.
here for a reason. And that stuff, be it social media, drugs, alcohol, those things are filters blocking the universal signal that guides
Mm.
us. And we get
Right,
so
right.
used to being dull that you have to retrain yourself to understand, like, oh, listen to that. And the way I listen to it is a little prayer and a little meditation and just concentrating on the good and forgetting about the past. I don't even like to call myself an addict or anything like that. Like, I am, don't get me wrong. But the way I look at it is that's yesterday, and I'm looking at tomorrow. I'm looking
Right.
forward to tomorrow. Whereas,
Right.
I,
And I think that's really something good that you just said with you look towards tomorrow because I feel like in the process of my addiction, I couldn't see tomorrow except to know that I had enough money to go get what I needed. I couldn't really think about tomorrow or what that was going to bring. And so that's definitely something that does come once you clear all that muck out of your
yeah,
brain. Is just
yeah. See, and I was living a
what's
Groundhog Day.
my life? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a weird thing, man. It's funny how we let ourselves get into that. And like I said, it's a product of the dark side. It's almost like it's designed to treat you good for just a short amount of time, just to get you interested. And then it says, pulls that rug out from underneath you, and you're its victim. You are in
Yeah.
debt to it.
Yeah.
And like,
Absolutely,
so you
absolutely,
just
and
got to convince yourself.
I think you saying, like, the thing that's it's not in our control, there's something as a higher power, there's something greater than us that's helping us. That's something that did help me in recovery, just knowing because I just kept failing. I would
Mhm.
try to quit and come back and try to I didn't have the power within myself to quit. And so I really had to recognize that I needed something else. I needed something else to help me. And whatever avenue people choose, I think we all come to this point where it's not within us to do it because every time we get puffed up in our self will, our self will, at least for me, it never worked. I'm a
Yeah.
very strong person in other areas, but when it comes to this, nope, absolutely
I,
not.
I had no power. And that's the
Hmm.
beauty of the 12-step process, the program, but the process of working through the steps, which I'm not all that too familiar with it, but I do
Hmm.
know that you have to resort to a higher power. You have to know that you can't do this like on your own.
Yeah.
You have to find whatever your thing is. And I just pray for each and every person listening that might be having an issue that they just figure it out sooner than later because it's doable. It's manageable. And especially if you haven't gotten
Hmm.
to like the 7OH and the heavier stuff, if you're just like in the prelims of it with the powders,
Yeah.
I promise you, it's only a few days. It might seem like the rest of your life, the first few minutes, but if you can afford yourself just even a couple of days to just sit there and man, it's hard to say that to anyone that doesn't have a bank
Yeah.
account, Bill Gates, that can just say, okay, I'm going to stop the world for this. But if you can make that happen, I think that's the most effective way is just isolating yourself for a few days, but then also being honest with those around you. So you're not feeling the shame and the guilt and all the things associated with trying to hide it from everybody, because mostly we're hiding it, or at least at
Yeah. Oh,
some
absolutely.
level. Yeah.
Something else that I was thinking about is like when you said you just take the couple days, I always said, I can't do it this week. I have this project at work. I'll wait
Always
until
something.
this week when my kids are going to be with their dad. And it was always, I'll wait until this. And then
Or
that
there's
thing would
always a
come.
wedding. There's always
Yes.
something that you have to be present for. I agree
Hmm.
with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just kept, those things kept coming and they would come and go. And then I'm back to where I needed it. Like you said, waking up in the middle of the night. And now I wake up and I've slept all night. When it took me a long time. That pause was a real thing. And I
Yeah.
still had a lot of lingering. This was different than opiates. I had a lot of lingering emotional instability and even physical withdrawals. I don't know. I know that you said you did the Ibogaine that helped, which that's great. That really helped you. But I really did. But now I can wake up and feel refreshed and ready to face my day and just have so much joy in recognizing what I actually had the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
I just didn't know it.
It's those blockers. It's
Mhm.
those filters. Did you stop dreaming during your addiction? Did you dream?
I don't I don't know, Tyler, because I just I didn't sleep very well because I was
Yeah, yeah.
sweaty and yuck, and then I'd get up and take them, and you pass
Well,
out for a minute, and then I'd be a nervous wreck. It just was no stability,
the
no sanity.
yeah, I hear you there. The coolest part about post Ibogaine round 1 was I started dreaming again for the first time in 20 years. And I'm talking
Mm,
about what was interesting is I dreamed every dream that I could remember having as a child. It was like I read did those dreams, and then after that was done, I got into this new level where like very interesting, fun dreams. And I was like, this is what people get to do? Like sober people are doing this? And some of them are weird.
right.
You wake up like, where am I? But the one of the coolest things was getting to dream again.
Yeah.
The coolest dream I had, and it was like my dad was talking to me. I was in my grandparents' house and the door was like rattling or something. I went open the door and it was my dad, and he was like his younger self. He was still a little long in the tooth and gray in the beard, but it was
Mhm.
him. And
Mm,
and we're both like look at each other shocked. And I'm talking about I was there. It wasn't like some weird dream, and I was there. And my dad looked at me and he said, "Is this a dream?" And I said, "I think so." And we just
mm,
hugged. I could
yeah.
smell him, feel him, and it was like all that stuff that I built up, and I let my dad down.
Yeah.
It just went away. I just
Yeah.
want to dream.
Yeah.
It was really cool, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's I don't know that we would feel those things if we were still using. I just think everything is so dull. And so
yeah.
that's really cool that that you were able to feel that again. So yeah. So I wanted to ask you, like, have you been around people that have taken this besides yourself?
Just that first girl, that girlfriend back in like
Mhm.
2015, and then
Mhm.
a couple of the people that were around me, let's call them more acquaintances than friends. I introduced people to it. I met
Right.
people, these kind of things that were happening. But since I left Texas, I asked people because my sister in law is a doctor, and I was like, "Have you heard of Kratom?" I was talking about it was this like life saving thing. It's the solution
Mhm.
to opiate abuse, but
Yeah.
no one had heard of it, and I was just in a little cell by myself.
Yeah, definitely. It was very isolating for me too because nobody knew what it was, and it was I just had this little thing that was mine and nobody could have it. It was just all mine and just leave it alone. But that was something I was afraid of when I was getting clean, was losing that. Did you have any fears in the beginning of what getting clean before you stopped taking it?
No, I was eager to be clean at any cost,
Mhm.
but like we both acknowledged, no matter how many times or what was on the line or what was at stake, it just wasn't happening. And no, I was eager to be clean and off of
Yeah.
it and not a victim to it. But I wasn't losing anything by friendships. I had only things to gain. So it
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
something
definitely.
yeah.
So what's something how would you describe like a normal like an average day now? Like versus when we were using it's always planning around the next use or where
Mm.
can I do this or when can I get it? What's a normal day now?
I like to get up and mess around with my dogs, enjoy a beautiful Caribbean sunrise. It rains a lot in the morning, and over the little small island outside my window here, rainbows appear, and I like to just think about how good life is for a few minutes. And I've been doing a lot of work around the yard that I put off for years, and the
Mhm.
house stuff. I've been putting a lot of time and effort into the foundation, into the
Mhm.
nonprofit, just trying to connect with people that are already in that space and trying to find ways to miss the hurdles and promote it. Like today, I was on the phone for quite a bit with some of the people from Americans for Ibogaine. Yeah, and just it's really been like my main focus. And I'm also trying to get another job just for the repetition or for the routine and trying to
Mhm.
stay focused on simple life things. But like I said, like doing drugs again is just not an issue right now. If it
Right.
ever becomes an issue, if I ever have a thought in the future, then yeah, I'm going to do something proactively before it gets out of hand. But really, right now, it's just been like enjoying life, enjoying like the simple things.
Right.
Quit enjoying food
I
so
did
much.
I did notice that the gratitude is so important because even in the worst times, because I lost a lot. I lost my job and my car and my kids and my apartment and a lot of relationships and all that. But somehow, like in the recovery process, I learned to be grateful. Just find one thing, even if it's so hard. Like I'm breathing right now, thank God. But now it's like I was driving to work today and I was driving a car. The things that just come back slowly with recovery, I have a car, I'm going to a job, all these things that I had lost, slowly, I feel like we regain them, and it's just like this show for everybody that there's life after addiction.
Yeah,
It's
like
just
the joy
beautiful.
comes back, doesn't it? Just
Mm.
just driving and not being like road ragey, not being irritable
Yeah.
all the time. Like
Yeah.
my wife said to me that she finally got the husband she married.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Oof,
awesome.
that's a big deal.
Yeah. Yep, I
But
know,
just enjoying, yeah, just
I'm
enjoying
getting
those
ready to
things. Sorry.
be married, and that's the same thing. My relationship wouldn't have lasted if I continued to use. So that's those things that come back from within recovery, plus the lessons we've learned of how strong we could be and the things like how you're putting together this foundation. You're using all this energy that we were using for drugs into good things. And it's amazing how much time we have to do
Yeah.
those kind of things when we're not all messed up. I could rave about recovery and all the things that it has done for me. And it's amazing. I have these questions. I did want to cover one thing. If
Yeah.
somebody is listening right now and they feel like they can't quit. Maybe they don't have $10,000, maybe they do, whatever. What would you say would be the first maybe 4 steps for them to take?
Write down a plan, write down an absolute statement, a mission statement, just like with any other business plan. But you have to set a goal and you have to think about it. You can't just be something you thought of at 2:30 in the morning, then forgot the next morning and didn't act on it. You have to have it like maybe pinned up on every wall and written on every mirror that I don't have to feel this way. That's what I wrote on my mirror. I don't ever
There you
have to
go.
feel this way again. And
Mhm.
once you start replacing all those thoughts and all that energy with all the negative crap associated with the addiction, and you fill that space with positive affirmations and just believing in yourself, just know that you're capable because we are human, we are strong, we are
Mm.
capable of doing what we set our mind to. Discipline solves 90% of our problems. But we forget that in the fog of the war of
Mhm.
addiction. And
Mm.
like I said, just writing down things and positively reaffirming that you're capable and that it sucks right now, but now I'm 1 minute closer. And
Right.
tomorrow I'm 1 day closer. And then it's all of a
Mhm.
sudden, it's, oh, that wasn't that bad. It's always worse in the moment. It's always scary to go into these things when you're thinking about it and you're in forward motion. But as soon as you look back, in hindsight, it's damn, that was not that bad. It just seems that bad right now. So just convincing yourself that it's gonna be okay and life goes on. Life is for the living. As soon as we get done with this one little small chapter in our book, then we get to
Mm.
turn the page. But if you forget that because the way that the depression and all these negative thoughts and everything build up in you, it's
Mhm.
hard to overcome. So really, it's just a game with yourself. You just got to create a
Right.
game. That same thing I'm doing with working out. It's just fun to feel the next day that I can do 11 of these bench presses, and yesterday I could only do 9. And once you
Mhm.
get just a couple of notches on that belt, a couple of rungs up that ladder a little bit higher, then it just becomes a momentum. And so Have
Right.
faith that the momentum will build faster than you think it will. That's the only thing
Yeah.
I can really offer besides just there's no easy way. There's no shortcuts, even with the Ibogaine, but just have faith. I know
Yeah.
that's pretty cliche or whatever, but
It
it's a
is,
big
and
part.
those cliche sayings come out I hear them come out of my mouth, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I know what that sounds like because I had other people say those things to me. It'll get better one day at a time, and I hated when they would say that, and then I just heard myself saying that a couple weeks ago to somebody. It's just take it today, just take it today,
Yeah.
but it's so true, and what you said about writing a plan, that's a great idea. I used writing as a tool, but that's something that I definitely use, especially in the early I have 2 full notebooks just from writing things down, and even if it was just like, "I'm crazy, I'm losing my mind, I can't" whatever you're feeling, just get it out and lean on your support system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to just to tell our audience? Because some people are recovered, some people don't even know if they need to be. Some people are right in the thick of it, and they need some hope. Is there anything that you'd like to pass on before we wrap it up?
Just remember that God loves you, that you're here for a reason, and the sooner you stop, the sooner you're living your real life again. And I wish you all the best of luck. Just stop. Stop now. No, I don't have any great lines, but I do know that finding God again has been like a big major role in the progression of everything so far. It's
Yeah.
held me accountable to myself, to something big, and it's just tough. It's addiction is the weirdest thing. It's not all crackheads
Yeah.
out there. It's not all that type of stuff. It's average folks, it's rich folks, it's poor folks, it's every race, religion, and
Yep.
man,
Yep,
there's no easy way, but you're tough enough. I promise you are.
and we're not alone. You're not alone. Those of you that are listening, we're not alone in this, even if it feels like it, because nobody knows what it is. We know what it is, and we don't think you're stupid or weak or you just aren't strong enough to do it. But there's a way out, and I know that there's people on this podcast that would love to talk to you. And I'm just really grateful for you, Tyler, for reaching out and sharing your story. And I just appreciate it, and hopefully you'll hear it soon.
Well, thank you very much. And just remember, just never give up.
Yep, absolutely. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.